Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Taylor and this is Benter's Bookshelf. So, it's April, meaning the first quarter of 2024 is over. Now, I will have a first quarter wrap-up coming out very soon, but today I have my first quarter book haul for you guys. So this is all of the books that I have acquired through January, February, and March. I have giveaway wins, I have subscription boxes, I have books that I purchased myself. So there's going to be quite a lot to talk about. I do kind of have them broken up into categories of how they were acquired, and quite a few of them I have already read. So what I've been doing with my home library is I have been purchasing books that I have given 4 stars or higher because I want my shelves to be full of books that I really enjoyed. So any book that I rate 4 stars or up, I add to a list, and then every couple of weeks I will see what books just happen to be on sale from that list, and I will go through and I'll buy a few of them. And then of course I enter Goodreads giveaways fairly often, and I have been winning fairly often, as well as I have the Illumicrate Evernight subscription, the Afterlight subscription. I have Amazon Prime, so I have Prime First Reads. And I also have the Audible Plus, so I get an Audible credit every month. Now, if I am using my Audible credit for the audiobook version of a book that I have hauled previously, I'm not including the audiobook version in this haul, just new to me books in any format. So, without further ado, let's get right into the book haul. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with my giveaway wins. These all have come from Goodreads giveaways that I have entered. I do have some that are ebook format, so I will put the cover up here if I have it in ebook format, and then some are physical, which I will just hold up for you. So the first one is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chen. This is a debut novel, and it released earlier this year in February. And Eliza Chen writes East Asian mythology, British folklore, and she has a penchant for dragons, according to her Goodreads bio. She has written short stories that have been published in magazines and has been on a few podcasts before. However, this is her full-length novel debut. So Fathom Folk is an adult fantasy, and it is inspired by East Asian mythology, and it is said to be a modern myth-inflected story of revolution and magic set in a semi-submerged city. So that just sounds so cool. I am getting like Atlantis vibes kind of from the semi-submerged city. And honestly, anything mythology related, I really gravitate towards, and especially East Asian mythology, I've been gravitating more towards over the last year or so, and I found that I really enjoy it. So I'm super excited to read this one. The next giveaway I won is for All I See Is Violence by Angie Alita Newell, and this was a new release back in January. So this is an adult historical horror, and it is Indigenous fiction, which I'm very, very excited to read. I have been loving the Indigenous fiction I've been reading lately. I am not Indigenous myself, but I really find myself connecting with the stories. It's very interesting to me, the relationships that are portrayed in Indigenous fiction are very strong and very powerful, and I've really, really enjoyed reading about them. So, in All I See is Violence, the U.S. government stole the Black Hills from the Sioux as it stole land from every tribe across North America. Forcibly relocated, American Indians were enslaved under strict land and resource regulations. Indigenous writer Angie Alida Newell brings a poignant retelling of the catastrophic true story of the 1876 Battle of Little Bighorn and the social upheaval that occurred on the Pine Ridge Reservation in 1972 during the height of the American Indian movement. So this sounds like it's going to be heart-wrenching and horrific and disturbing, as it is a retelling of the true events that the U.S. government plagued our indigenous community with. Usually anything set like in the plains and the Midwest region, unless it's specifically set in winter, I typically gravitate towards during the summer, and I am making this one a priority to read this year. All right, the next one that I won is A Darwinian Survival Guide, Hope for the 21st Century. And this is by Daniel R. Brooks and Salvatore J. Agosta. This is a nonfiction scientific work, and it is basically about a theory of climate change being brought upon by a shift in our evolutionary timeline about 15,000 years ago, and how we can use evolutionary principles to, I don't know if reverse the effects is the correct way to put it, but how we can use evolutionary principles to combat climate change. For those that don't know, I grew up in a very scientific household. My father has a PhD in physics. My mother had a PhD in psychology. My sister studied biochemistry. And so science books, science texts, in theories and everything were a very common conversation and a common happenstance in my household. And that's something I've carried with me into adulthood. So I am excited to read this one. It's definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and there will probably be things in here that I balk at just because it is a theory, and it's hopefully will give me good discussion material for the next time I go and hang out with my dad, because I always really like talking science with him and passing back and forth theories and what we think and what's kooky and everything like that. So excited for this one. Probably, if I don't get to it this summer, I will definitely be picking it up for Nonfiction November. Switching gears a little bit, the next one we have is Given Our History by Christian J. Miller. And this is an adult contemporary romance. It is set during the fall time, obviously by the cover. I love the cover. And this is between Assistant Professor Clara and Visiting Scholar Theodore. And it is a friends to lovers / second chance romance. And I don't even need to know anything else, because just off of books that I've read in the past, I know I'm going to love this one. So, yeah. I did get an advanced reader copy. Let me see. I believe this releases this month, but let me double check. I'm glad I double checked. Wrong a month. So this releases in August of this year, which is perfect right there at the beginning of the school year. So it makes that academic setting perfect. Right at the end of summer, beginning of fall transition. So I think this is going to be one that a whole bunch of people will pick up later this year. At least I hope so, because it looks and sounds so good. Next we have Blood in the Cut by Alejandro Nodars. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. So I won this arc. It does release in June of this year. And this is kind of a thriller, but it's more general fiction. So we are following our main character, Iggy, and he has just been released from prison. And coming home, he finds that his mother has passed, and his father is grief-stricken, and they are about to lose their family butcher shop due to a new business rival slash vigilante slash big game hunter who has really gotten Iggy's father into a bad spot with some shady people. So Iggy is now having to help save their butcher shop, help his grieving father, all while readjusting to normal society out of prison. This sounds like it's going to be a really deep book. It sounds like it's going to be a really fast-paced book with quite a bit of action. And it's really not that long of a book. Let me see how many pages this is. Now, this is the arc, so page length may differ just slightly from the final published copy. Okay, so this is 287 pages, so less than 300 pages on this. I really think it's going to be a super fast read, and I think I'm going to save this because we are going on vacation this summer, and I think this would be a good vacation read because we are road tripping, so a good read for the car. And the final book I won from Goodreads giveaways in first quarter is one I am so excited for and is definitely going to be a vacation read, and that is A Cyclist's Guide to Crime and Croissants by Anne Claire. This is a cozy mystery, and it is set on the Mediterranean coast, and it's going to be just like the perfect escapist cozy mystery for vacation time. This is an ARC copy. It does go on sale in May, so not a whole long time to wait on this. And it is from the Kensington Publishing subpub for their cozy mysteries. It's from Kensington Cozies. So that makes me really excited about it because I have really enjoyed all of the cozy mysteries that have come out of Kensington Cozies. So in this, we are following main character Sadie Green, who has just up and left her office job and moved to southern France and bought sight unseen a bicycle tour company. And things are getting going, and she is determined to convince her friends and family, including her former boss, that this was the right decision for her. So they all come in, and then one of them ends up dead. So we've got that murder mystery going on, along with some other crimes being committed, and I honestly just cannot wait. I also love that cycling is a big part of this because for the majority of my life, basically until I was an adult, my father was a cyclist and did races, so I'm very familiar with the cycling community, and it's giving me Tour de France vibes, and yeah, I'm super excited for this one, and I will probably be vlogging over my vacation, so expect this and a couple of other books in a vlog later this summer. Moving right along to the next category, and that is books that I've gotten from subscriptions. So starting with the Prime First Reads, for those who aren't familiar, it is a program that is available to all Prime members, and you get to pick a book, a Kindle book, an ebook, every month for free from a curated list of new releases. Some months there are extras, like you can pick two, like they usually do that in January. So I do have 4 of those to talk about today. The first one is This Impossible Brightness by Jessica Bryant Klagman. This is a sci-fi mystery, and I'm just going to read you a little blurb here for it. After the mysterious disappearance of her fiancé, Alma Hughes moves to a remote island in the North Atlantic, where she hopes to weather her grief and nurture her ailing dog. But the strange town of Violet has mysteries as well. Townsfolk say that the radio tower overlooking their town broadcasts messages through their home appliances, their dreams, and even the sea itself. When lightning strikes the tower, illuminating the sky in a brilliant flash, Alma finds herself caught in the unexplainable aftermath of one of Violet's deadliest storms. So, I just have to say, anything involving a storm, I'm in. That's a buzzword for me. And I love that it's a mystery. I love that there's this sci-fi element to it. I am just super excited. Again, this is giving summer vibes, so this may end up being a vacation read as well. And I really do love the cover. I love the contrast between the pink and the blue. It just, it looks so, so good. Kind of opposite of This Impossible Brightness, we have We Ate the Dark by Mallory Pearson. This is a horror mystery, and it is following 4 women who are investigating the disappearance murder of their friend. It involves abandoned houses. It is set in North Carolina, and there is an LGBTQ plus element to the story. I'm super excited to read this one, and I hope it is good as it sounds. The next one is The Canopy Keepers by Veronica G. Henry. I am a little apprehensive about this one because I have attempted a Veronica G. Henry book before, The Quarter Storm, and I ended up DNFing it because it was just too slow of a pace. However, the premise of this one does seem rather different, so I am hoping that it's better than the last one. So this is an adult fantasy, sci-fi. It's got oh my god, I cannot say that word. It has an archaeology element to it. In this book, it's what happens when nature will no longer stand by and accept its destruction. It involves a female fire chief that discovers an ancient world. And honestly, I have to say, the cover really brought me in because this cover just looks so cool and magical. Also, the archaeology element really brought me in because I love me some archaeology, okay? And finally, for Prime First Reads, I picked Matterhorn by Christopher Reich. This is like an espionage political thriller, and it's set in a small town in the Alps. So we're following a retired agent called Mac Decker. He just recently lost his son unexpectedly, and he is looking for answers. This takes him to the Alpine village where he runs into an old friend who just ends up framing him for treason. So it sounds super interesting. It sounds adventurous. It sounds fast-paced, and I'm really excited to read this one. Moving on to my Illumicrate subscriptions, I do have one for Evernight, and that is The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. So obviously I have to show you the exclusive cover. And then the amazing sprayed edges that just look so cool. And let me take off the dust jacket because the naked cover of this is to die for. I mean, look at that. Just absolutely spectacular with the foiling. And it looks so cryptic and creepy. And then we do have really awesome end pages as well. So this one I have been seeing kind of everywhere. It's kind of taken the book community by storm. It is a YA witchy horror novel, and I've heard mixed reviews about it. So I am wondering if it's going to end up being a win or not for me. But it says, 5 women are dead. The killer leaves no fingerprints, no DNA. Police are utterly stumped. In a world where only women can use magic and the men who know about it seek to eradicate them, 3 damaged young women, one cursed, one hunted, and one out for revenge, will team up to track down and take out a brutal supernatural killer. So this seems witch hunt. It seems Criminal Minds-esque, and I'm here for it. It's stunning. So hopefully I give it at least 4 stars so it can stay on my shelves. And I do have one for the Illumicrate Afterlight subscription, and that is At First Spite by Olivia Dade. Right off the bat, I was excited about this one because of the plus size female main character. And then, of course, we've got this awesome cover. But the real stunners of this edition, the sprayed edges, I mean, look at that. The strawberries, guys. Like, it's glorious. And then on the tops and bottom, we've got more of the color gradient with the stars. And then you get to the naked cover. And it's amazing. So cool. And then you've got the art on the end pages, which I absolutely love. I love seeing more art of the main characters. It makes visualizing them much easier, and it really brings a different level to the story. And also I just noticed this right now on camera. There's a jack-o'-lantern in the window. Oh, I love that. Jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so this is a contemporary romance. So, when Athena's fiancé ends their engagement, she has no choice but to move into the Spite House she recklessly bought him as a wedding gift, which is a problem for several reasons. The house is only 10 feet wide. Her ex's mom has literally attached to hers. And Dr. Matthew Fine, the freaking third, aka the uptight, judgy jerk who convinced his younger brother to leave her, is living on the other side, only a 4-foot alley away. So the male main character is her ex-fiance's brother. I love a good brother romance, guys. I am so excited for this. I think this is probably going to be a May read for me, just because April is like death by TBR right now. So I will pick this up as soon as I can. Moving on to the two books that I got through Audible subscription in the first quarter, and the first one is Everywhere. It is everywhere. I got it because it is the book club pick for my guild for Magical Readathon, which if you don't know what Magical Readathon, look for Book Roast's channel in the description box, and I'll put it up here somewhere as well, and you can go check it out. It is a super fun, involved readathon where you are attending a magic academy, and yeah, it's great. But for my guild, the Mindwalkers, the book club pick is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So, as I said, this book is everywhere. It is a Norse mythology inspired romantasy, and I do know a couple people who have already read it and absolutely loved it. I am really not super sure as to the specifics of the plot, but I think that's good. I think I need to go into this one with just the bare minimum knowledge, because it's romantasy, and usually if I know too much going into romantasy, it's not as successful for me. So yeah, that's all I know about it. That's all I want to know before reading it, and this one will be read this month in April for Magical Readathon. And the other Audible book that I got in first quarter is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. So I have been watching BookTube and in the community since about this time in 2022. And one of the first authors I saw talked about back then was Jay Kristoff, and I was really intrigued. Fast forward 2 years, here I am, and I still haven't read any Jay Kristoff. So I was determined to use one of my Audible credits for a Jay Kristoff book to give this author a try. And I could not decide which book. So there were two that I was trying to decide between: Nevernight and Empire of the Vampire. Was it Empire of the Vampire, or was it? Yes, Empire of the Vampire. So I messaged my friends and I sent them all the Goodreads links for each of the books so they could read the synopsis, look at reviews, whatever. And I had them vote on which one I would go with, because I could not decide. And it was so close, but Nevernight won by one vote. So that's the one I went with. So I have not read the detailed synopsis because, again, I don't like to know a whole lot. And then this is YA high fantasy, so especially with high fantasy, I don't want to know a lot going in. So this says, in a land where 3 suns almost never set, a fledgling killer joins a school of assassins seeking vengeance against the powers who destroyed her family. That just sounds freaking amazing. It also sounds like if I were in this world, I would be burnt to a crisp because I sunburn very easily. And if there's 3 suns that almost never set, yeah, I would be smoking. So I am very excited to get into this one. This one will probably be a fall read for me, just because it's giving closer spooky vibes. It's not super spooky season material, but it'll probably be a September-ish read for me. Closer to when the weather is starting to cool off and things. That's when I usually gravitate towards the more involved fantasy novels. Okay, I've been talking a lot, but we are finally to the last category. So these are all the books that I have purchased for myself. And the first one is Drum roll, please. It's a big one. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. Why only the 7th book, you ask? Because for some reason, the 7th book is the only one that went missing from my original collection. So over here, in the corner here, I have my Harry Potter series. And I don't know what happened to my original copy of the 7th book, but it disappeared somewhere over the years in one of the times that I moved, I guess. So I had to buy a replacement copy. That's literally all this is a replacement copy. I will actually be rereading all of Harry Potter starting in September, and it will be the first time I've reread them since high school. So it's going to be a fun time. I am super excited for it, and now I have the entire collection again for my reread. In sort of the same vein, I purchased Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I do also have that one over here in the corner right there. This is my entire Red Queen series. So this isn't a replacement copy. What happened is when I started reading the Red Queen series, I had the first book only in the Kindle version. And then once I started reading more into the series, I bought them in hardcover. So this was the one that I was missing that I did not have originally in hardcover. So I bought this one. And then I also bought the bind up of the 3 or 4 novellas that go along with this series. And it's been bound up into Broken Throne. So this one I do still have to read, but once I read Broken Throne, I will have read that entire series. Next up, I have been slowly collecting signed hardback editions of each book in the Secret Book and Scone Society series by Ellery Adams. This is my favorite cozy mystery series of all time. And so far, I have collected 4 of the 6. So here I've got Secret Book and Scone Society with her signature, The Whispered Word, The Book of Candlelight, and Ink and Shadows. So I do only have the Vanishing Type and paper cuts left to collect for this series in signed hardcover editions to be complete on my shelves, and I am just so happy to have these, guys. I know I have talked about this series plenty of times on my channel, but it really is one of my favorite series of all time. It is my favorite cozy mystery series, and these just bring me so much comfort to look at on my shelves. Okay, moving right along, we have The Peculiar Incident on Shady Street by Lindsay Curie. This is my favorite middle grade author. I've said that before. I will keep saying it because it is true. She writes the best spooky middle grade books ever. So this one is following our character Tessa Woodward, who is not happy that her family is moving from Florida to Chicago. She's homesick, and then weird things start to happen, like flickering lights, mysterious drawings appearing out of nowhere, and crackling noises that like chill her to the bone. So now not only is she not happy about moving, she's also scared. And then she realizes that someone or something is trying to get into the house. Luckily, she does have some new friends that she has made that are willing to help her out and to solve whatever the heck is going on. And it's just a really great time. Like, I love spooky middle grade so much because it gives you the chills. It gives you that, sitting in your friend's room and during a sleepover, swapping scary stories feels. And it's going to be a comfort genre for me probably for my entire life. My middle grade reading daughter also loves all of Lindsay Curry's books and is super excited to read this one. So yeah, if you haven't picked up this book or any of Lindsay Curry's other books, definitely check them out because they are so good. Switching gears a little bit and going all the way back to like 2015, Taylor, I decided to finally get a copy of Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis for my shelves. Will I ever reread this? Probably not. Did it age well? Probably not. But at the time in my life that I did read this, I found it very helpful. And having this in my possession and on my shelves reminds me of everything that I've been through and survived and come out the other side of things. So that is why I purchased myself a copy. It was not, stupid dogs. Ignore my dogs. It was not an expensive book. I bought it on sale for $7. And yeah, $7 is definitely worth it to have the reminder on my bookshelves of everything I've accomplished so far in my life. When I didn't think that I could get through it, I did get through it, and this reminds me of that when I see it. All right, so I did also get 2 romances that I have read and enjoyed. The first one being Until We Meet Again by Renee Collins. This is it's not a time travel romance really. The characters are like stuck in 2 different points in time, and they are only able to see each other on this beach behind a bungalow that is where the male main character is living in his timeline and where the female main character is vacationing with her family in her timeline. This was very, very emotional and bittersweet, and I would read this again in a heartbeat. And then I also got Life Unscheduled by Kristen Rockaway. I do have this in ebook form as well. That is how I originally read it. But I did enjoy it enough that I wanted a physical copy for my shelves. And this is about a workaholic who has overcommitted herself and is trying to start a relationship and is really, really, really dealing with the effects of burnout and has to prioritize what she truly wants out of her life. So not only is it a romance, it is a story of self-discovery and really just honing in on what's important to you when you're in your 30s and your 40s, not early adulthood. I also purchased the ebook version of Orange Volume 7. This is the hopefully final volume in the series. So I read all of Orange, or what I thought was all of Orange, volumes 1 through 6, a while ago, and I absolutely loved it. One of my favorite manga series ever. And then, like a year goes by and I realize, oh, there's a 7th volume. So I bought that ebook version and I read it in one sitting and I really enjoyed it. So Orange by Ichigo Takano is a YA sci-fi friendship story that deals with grief. It deals with suicide, and it is really, really rooted in the idea of how one choice can change the trajectory of not only your entire life, but the lives of others. And I loved it so much. And I will eventually buy the volumes physically for my shelves, especially now that I've read all of them, I hope. We'll see. We'll see if another year goes by and there's an 8th volume. But yes, I didn't enjoy the 7th volume as much as I did the first 5. It was about on par with volume 6 for me, but it was, I think, a good continuation of the story, and I feel like it wrapped up some things that maybe needed a little more explanation. Okay, moving on to the last 4 books of this book haul. These are ones that I have not read, and these are also the most recent editions. I just bought these last week at Half Price Books. So I have The Book of Hidden Things by Francesco Dimitri. This was a cover buy. I absolutely adore this cover. I love the tree. I love the gold around the edges, the constellations, the flames. And it just looks so, so interesting to me. So let's see. This is about 4 friends who have a pact to meet up on the same day every year in their small hometown in southern Italy. Ooh, Italy. Art, the charismatic leader of the group, has always been adamant about the pact, but this year he doesn't show up. Searching for him, the friends make a worrying discovery. Art has been farming marijuana in a very dangerous activity in a mafia-controlled country. Asking around in town, they hear bizarre and incredible rumors that Art cured a young girl of leukemia. And then amongst the chaos of his house, they find a curious manuscript written by Art called The Book of Hidden Things, which promises to reveal secrets enchanting as flames and just as treacherous. Okay, so yeah, this sounds like it could be really, really good, or it could be more on the corny side of things. But I am still very much intrigued and hope to get to it later this year. Next up is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. I picked this one up because I have read from Diane Setterfield before, which actually it is right here. I read The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, and this is one of my favorite books of all time. So I picked up another one of her works, Once Upon a River, hoping that it will be just as successful as the first one. So this is a mystery thriller. It says, on a dark midwinter's night in an ancient inn on the River Thames, an extraordinary event takes place. The regulars are telling stories to while away the dark hours when the door bursts open to reveal a grievously wounded stranger. In his arms is the lifeless body of a small child. Hours later, the girl stirs, takes a breath, and returns to life. Is it a miracle? Is it magic? Or can science provide an explanation? These questions have many answers, some of them quite dark indeed. So that sounds amazing. And yeah, I'm going to say right now this is going to be another vacation read, because this is it's gonna make the long road trip drive go by faster. I can already tell. Next up, we have Loot by Jennifer Thorne. First of all, this cover is phenomenal. It's giving me like midsummer vibes, and this is a folk horror novel. And I am just very intrigued by it. So it's blurbed by Lee Kelly, who is the author of City of Savages, Kim Liggett, who is the author of The Grace Year, Chandler Baker, who wrote The Husbands, and El Cosimano, who is the author of Finlay Donovan. So this says, on the idyllic island of Lute, every 7th summer people die, no more, no less. Lute and its inhabitants are blessed year after year with good weather, good health, and good fortune, despite the war that rages all around them. So it's only fair that every 7 years, on the day of the tithe, the island's gift is honored. American Nina Treadway is new to Lute. She became a lady through her marriage to Lord Treadway, whose family has long protected the island. Nina's heard about the day, of course, but she thinks it's all superstitious nonsense. Stories are told to keep newcomers at bay and youngsters in line. Then the day begins, and it's a day of nightmares, of grief, of reckoning. But it's also a day of community, of survival and strength, of love at its most pure and untamed. When the day ends, Nina and Lute will never be the same. Yeah, this is also going to be a vacation read. I think I'm up to almost 10 vacation reads. I don't know. I'll have to count while I am editing this video. But yeah, this sounds amazing. Folk horror seems to be my genre when it comes to horror. I have loved so many folk horror short stories as well as folk horror novels. So this one is going to be so good. And finally, last but not least, the brightest book I have in this book haul, The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. So I just really want to talk about this cover. We've got different animals and the names for the females. So we have the fox, which is a vixen. Apparently a female elephant is called a cow. Female otter is a Jill. I knew that one. Got a cat that says queen. Got a human, the only one in color, and it says woman. And then we've got the dog over here, and it's crossed out. Thank you very much. So, this is a mystery thriller, and it says, the female of the species is more deadly than the male. True. Alex Kraft knows how to kill someone, and she doesn't feel bad about it. 3 years ago, when her older sister Anna was murdered and the killer walked free, Alex uncaged the language she knows best, the language of violence. While her own crime goes unpunished, Alex knows she can't be trusted among other people. Not with Jack, the star athlete who really wants to know her but still feels guilty over the role he played the night Anna's body was discovered. And not with PK, the preacher's kid with a defiant streak who befriends Alex while they volunteer at an animal shelter. As their senior year unfolds, Alex's dark nature breaks out, setting these 3 teens on a collision course that will change their lives forever. Edgar Award-winning author Mindy McGinnis artfully crafts 3 alternating perspectives into a dark and riveting exploration of what it means to be the female of the species. So that sounds super good. It's giving me Good Girl's Guide to Murder vibes with the just kind of the language and the way that the synopsis was describing the plot. And it's not super long, so I'm thinking this one may end up being, if not a May read, then maybe in August. You know, as the summer is wrapping up. How many pages is this thing actually? There we go. It's 341 pages, so less than 350 pages. This would be like a weekend read. And, you know, it's multi POV, so I could probably fit it into a readathon somewhere. But if I don't before August, then that's when I plan to pick this one up. All right, guys, that is it for this book haul. If my math is correct, it was 32 books that I acquired in the first quarter of 2024. I feel really good about that in relation to the amount of owned TBR books that I ended up reading in first quarter, which I will talk about in my first quarter wrap-up video. Yeah, that's it for this one. I do plan on doing a quarterly book haul kind of from here on out. I really think that is the best way for me personally to do book hauls. So you can expect one this summer for my second quarter book haul, which already has a book on it. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Again, I've got my first quarter wrap up coming up very soon. Like I said, I'm participating in Magical Readathon this month, so I will have a vlog for that coming out. I'm also participating in Old School April Readathon. I will have a vlog coming out for that. And then I have a kind of big project planned for May that I am super excited about and can't wait to bring to you guys. So stick around and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!